Xiaomi has always had a thing for delivering devices that punches above their weight in the market of budget-friendly smartphones. Now, the all-new Redmi A5 is no exception, and it's here to shake things in the entry-level segment, where we have the likes of Tecno Pop 9, the Smart 9 by Infinix, the Galaxy A06, and even Vivo Y04. Now, for those who've been patiently waiting for an upgrade from the Redmi A3X, or even skipping over the Redmi A4 entirely, the Redmi A5 brings some solid upgrades without putting a hole in your pocket. For as low as 99,700 Naira for the 3GB 64GB variant and 115,200 Naira for the 4GB 128GB, the A5 isn't just another cheap phone but a thoughtfully designed smartphone that manages to balance performance and style in a way that makes you wonder how they pull it off. So should you buy this latest addition to the budget segment? Let's find out in this review. The Redmi A5 looks and feels like it belongs in a higher price bracket. The moment you pick it up, the first thing you'll notice is how light and comfortable it feels in your hand. Not too big or bulky, even though it features a spacious display. It comes in 4 distinct color options, the midnight black of which I have here, perfect for those who prefer a classic look. The back panel has a gradient finish which helps keep fingerprints and smudges at bay in comparison to what we had on the Redmi A3X. The sandy gold on the other hand adds a touch of elegance with a subtle gold accents around the camera housing. It is not overly flashy but still manages to catch the eye. Then there is a light green and ocean blue which is soft and refreshing, giving off a more youthful and playful vibes. Now, while the Redmi A5 isn't made of premium materials like glass or fancy aluminum sides, but just good old plastic that doesn't feel cheap either, but tough enough to handle everyday bumps and drops, especially if you use the included jelly case, which is the first Redmi has ever added a protective case for its A series, and we hope they keep doing this for their future A series devices. The display is also one of the highlights here. Redmi gave the A5 a 6.8-inch HD Plus IPS LCD screen, which is pretty massive compared to its predecessor and many phones in its price range, giving you plenty of real estate for basically everything. The colors look sharp and vibrant. Although it is not as vivid as some high-end devices, it still holds its own for everyday use. Text looks clear, images pop, and videos feels immersive. But what really sets the display apart is the inclusion of a 120Hz refresh rate that actually feels like one, and there is an option to go for 60Hz or the 120Hz for that extra dash of smoothness. However, the screen struggles to stay visible in really bright environments, which is expected for a 450 nits peak brightness budget phones. The Redmi A5 camera system is one of the areas Redmi also stepped things up, and it shows. The main camera boasts a 32 megapixel sensor, which is a big upgrade from the 13 megapixel shooter we've seen in previous models. This bump in resolution makes a noticeable difference, especially when you are snapping detailed shots using the UHD or the HDR camera feature. Now, while it doesn't turn your phone into a camera-centric device, but for everyday photography, it gets the job done, especially when taking pictures in ample lighting condition. Colors come out vibrant without looking overprocessed, and details are sharp enough that you can zoom in a bit without everything turning into a blurry mess. The software on the A5 is where things get interesting. The smart move here was Redmi sticking with MIUI's stock Android 15, instead of layering it with heavy customizations like HyperOS. This makes the phone feel light and snappy with no bloatware cluttering up the device, and everything just works smoothly without unnecessary hiccups. This is the kind of experience that makes you forget that you're using an entry-level phone. For casual gamers, this phone holds its own. In Mobile Legends, you can crank the graphics to ultra and the frame rates to super, and the game runs buttery smooth. The average FPS stays at around 58. Even during intense team fights, the lowest it dips is around 45. However, I did notice I couldn't download and play Asphalt 9 Legends, as it says the app will not work for the device, which is expected. But other racing games wasn't a problem. COD was also playable, but nothing more than the usual settings for entry-level models processor like the one we have on here. My unit is the 3GB 64GB variant. I would recommend going for the 4GB with higher storage, as we all know the higher storage and RAM size, the better experience you get. Battery life on here is rated 5200 milliamps capacity, which translates to a full day of usage. The Redmi A5 comes with a 15-watt charger inside the box, which gets the job done. Although not the fastest charging tech out there for a low-budget phone, but it's good knowing we have a charger inside the box and it's reliable. The Redmi A5 brings good design to performance ratio at an affordable price range with a combination of a smooth 120Hz massive display, a reliable battery life, a good enough processing power in terms of performance with a capable 32-megapixel camera, making it feel like a steal. Would you buy the Redmi A5 or any other model? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you when next I talk to you.